The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Okay, this is going to be really fun. Okay, so Pam, what was scarier, Slumber Party Massacre or moving into the little house on the prairie?
Oh, Patrick, for different reasons, they were both scary. And I can explain those later if you like, but I have to say, it was a tie.
From the heart of Hollywood, it's the Patrick Labber Show with Patrick Labberton.
It's the Patrick Labber Show. Patrick Labberton. He's the one you gotta know.
Tonight's episode, Pam Roylance.
Patrick Labber Show. He's the one you gotta know.
Okay, you know her as Sarah Carter from Little House on the Prairie. I know her as one of the sweetest people in the world. Please welcome the one, the only Pamela Roylance.
Thank you,
Thank
Patrick.
you, Pam.
Thank you.
Now, before I go further here, I call you Pam. You're listed always as Pamela Roylance. I always like to be called Patrick. What's your preference?
I like Pamela in print or on sets where I feel like maybe I need to be important, but where I can feel really down home, it's Pam, either on a set or personally. And if you ever call me Pammy, it means that I know you really well and you have permission to do that.
Yeah, I get excellent. I appreciate that. I get there's one guy that calls me Trick, which is the weirdest, like out of nowhere, but he's the only human on the planet that calls me Trick. People that know me from when I'm a kid call me Pat, and everyone who knows me as an adult knows me as Patrick. Okay, so just a little bit to let everybody know. Obviously, if you know Little House, you know Pam from Little House. You know that I was on Little House, but well, you also probably know that we didn't work together. We never had an episode together. We were years apart. So it's sort of like we went to the same college, but at different times. So we knew all the same people, but not at the same time. Act 1, beginnings. So I don't know that much about you as far as how you got started. So let me and the viewers know, why did you become an actor? How did it all start?
Well, Patrick. That's where Trick comes from. At the end of Patrick, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess. I know you as Patrick. I'm very comfortable calling you Patrick. So, Patrick, I would have to say that it was my dream to grow up and become an actress. So, starting at a very early age in Portland, Oregon, where I was raised, I was just going to as many movies as my parents would take me to, watching as much television. I was doing plays by the 6th grade. I got into a play. I played the part of a boy, and apparently I knew.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. We
worked well for Mary Martin for years. Peter Pan. Yeah.
I didn't get to fly, but I played the this boy character, and it was in our social studies class, and our teacher had written a play called The Sun God to teach us about, I think it was the Aztec Mayans. And apparently when my parents came to see the production, which was probably just on the school cafeteria stage, I'm guessing, during lunch hour, and my dad said I knew everyone's lines, and I had no problem prompting them on stage, just right there. So apparently it was my dream for forever. And then by the 8th grade, I had a teacher who had us do a personal journal on who we wanted to be when we grew up, what kind of job we wanted to have. And I chose acting. And he said, oh, no, you can't do that because everybody wants to be an actor. And very few people succeed at it. You need something very substantial, grounded. You need to be able to have a profession first. And I said, okay. And he said, how about teaching drama? And I didn't even know what drama was. And he had to tell me. And so I did 2 projects, which he allowed me to do. I gave equal time to both. I wrote Sally Field a letter. She sent me back, or someone sent me back a black and white photo with her signature. And I built my whole journal around that and around the idea that she had to be somewhere one day saying, why can't it be me? Why can't I get on a TV show?
Yeah.
And that was my premise with that. I turned in 2 journals. I got A's on both of them. And then years later, after Little House and Slumber Party Massacre, I was so tempted to go back to Mr. Sanders and to say, you should never say that. You should never snuff anybody's light out. Although maybe it just energized me. But some people would have said, yeah, I guess you're right. I did teach high school for 3 years in Portland. It was a good experience for a lot of reasons, but I found myself wanting to get out earlier and earlier as each year came. So the first year we started in September. We got out in June, and spring vacation was in March. And I thought by March, it's a long way till we get out in June. And then the next year I made it to Christmas. And during that vacation, I thought, I really don't want to go back. And then by the third year, I got through September 7th to September 30th. And I wanted out. So it was a long year. But I learned a lot from those kids. And it was a good experience. And then I ended up taking a year's leave of absence, which was granted to me begrudgingly by the school district. And it was only through the help of my principal and vice principal that I got out. And it was it was unpaid, but the door was open.
Now, I don't know the geography of it, but I think there's an Ashland Shakespeare Festival in Portland. And I mean, I knew a lot of people that would go up there for that alone. Were you ever a part of that or aware of that?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Ashland is really located about, it would take about 4.5 or 5 hours to drive there. It's directly south. It's almost to the California-Oregon border. And it is an incredible space. And I'm glad you brought that up because when I was actually in the midst of ending the teaching, getting ready to come to LA, I ended up getting an audition at the Ashland Shakespeare Festival. And and I was so excited. You had to prepare a monologue that was contemporary and one that was Shakespearean. So I go and meet this guy in a very, very large room, and he's at one long end away, and I'm at the other long end away, and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, looking down at something in a notebook the whole time. And I do my 2 monologues. I don't think he even looked up, not even once. And he finished his cigarette and he just said, thank you very much. We'll let you know. And I knew that it was about one of the worst, but one of the initiation fees, into the professional world of, honey, this is what it's going to be like. You're not going to always have pleasant auditions.
Well, as an actor, though, you can have bad auditions where you think that you suck, and then you can have bad auditions where they suck. Was this a they suck?
This was definitely a they suck, yeah. And I think you're right. As an actor, I think we have 3 auditions. The one we give in the car on the way to the audition, when we used to drive to them. The one you give at the studio, and then the one you give on the way home wishing you would have done it that way. So, self-tapes now, and you do probably 27 of them before you find the one that you want to send. So, very.
I complain about it, almost weekly now with other actors on the podcast about there's just not, I don't know, it's like, it's not there's no interaction. There's nothing there to deal with. But let's go back to when it was nice and good. So you're on your way. You come down to Los Angeles to become an actor, or you are an actor. Before we leave that, though, I did have one question. You said Sally Field. Usually there's one person or a project or a movie or something that kind of sparks all of this. Was that true for you? Did you have a person that goes, oh, I want to do what that person's doing?
Yeah, I did. It was Julie Andrews. And it was, all the movies that she did that I was able to watch either in the theater, probably in the theater, probably not on TV in those days. And I really just thought this is who I want to be when I grow up. There was a time in my life where people were saying, when I was a young girl, they were saying, "You look like Julie Andrews," and
I can see it now. I mean,
can you?
oh yeah. Right, because Julie Andrews has been preserved very well, and you look great. So it's like I can see. I was just about to comment saying, "Oh, I can see that." I mean, it's like you're definitely in that column.
Oh, thank you.
So that makes a lot of sense.
It's on my bucket list to be able to share a set with her one day and work on a project with her. But yes, and I didn't mention I was doing everything I could do on the high school level to get into every play I could. And even at church, we were doing plays, and I was earning awards and things like that, which encouraged me to know that I could do this, and there was space for me. And then in college, that was my major. I would go down to Southern Oregon College. My first year was in Idaho. I spent 2 years at a junior college, which I chose because they didn't have any fraternities or sororities, and I was not a popular girl, and I didn't want to be with the popular girls, and so I chose a college that didn't have that, and it was a church school, so that was safe for me. But then I went to Southern Oregon College in Ashland for my junior, senior years, and I finished up there, and then I went back to Portland, and I got my master's degree, and that was strictly in theater arts. The earlier undergrad degree was in speech, theater, and teaching secondary education. So then
So you became a teacher, which again, having the school, I learned that I learn a lot more teaching than I do sometimes when I'm not. Like just as a teacher, you have to explain what you're doing. So you learn that way. So the big move when you're a young person and a young woman, especially moving to the big city, Los Angeles, and Oregon's not nothing, but it's not like LA. What is it? What was the driving force that made you have to leave all the things that you knew into a strange new world?
Thank you for asking that. I really think that part of it was that I was granted the leave of absence, and I knew I had the door open and I could come back. Part of it was I had 2 connections in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, who were going to show me the ropes and get me a place to live, which they did. They did all of that. And then the third part was I think it's an aching and an urging and a constant nudging from the inside that tells you, this is what you love. You should do this. And I think if anyone listening to this is questioning, what is my next step in my life? No matter what it is, just say, if you have a constant draw to go back to it, you have to answer it, or it's just going to knock all your life. And you might get in a position where you can't get away. And it's good, I think, to be able to be responsible, be multi careered, maybe be dual careered at least, to be able to support yourself, but to, when you can, break away and follow your dream, or in whatever levels you can follow that dream, that's important. So that was really pushing and pulling me. So I was able then to get in the car and go, and I had an apartment waiting for me, and I had
Where did you end up? Where were you? Where was your
North Hollywood. I was in North Hollywood.
Okay, great. So it's like the late 70s. It's in North Hollywood, right?
Oh, it's actually 1980. The year I moved was 1980. Yeah.
So you get down to LA, and this is what's so classic. What I love about this business is at least your first credit listed is Slumber Party Massacre, and your next one is Little House on the Prairie. So you got to tell me. I did some research on Slumber Party Massacre. I heard that this was a movie that was basically going to be a parody of slasher movies, and then it ended up being like a classic slasher movie. What was your experience? How did you get into it? And you're living with a church group. How did you justify being in Slumber Party Massacre?
Yeah, well, there was a lot I didn't tell them, and there was a lot I didn't let them see. Well, not a lot, but that one I didn't let them see. I got into it because I was answering the drama log and backstage, I think, newspapers. Yes, so I got an interview, and then I booked the role of the girls' high school basketball coach and teacher. and it was one of the leads. Not the girls were really the leads, and a couple
Right.
of their boyfriends, but mine was right in there. I in it throughout the movie, and I'm one
Yeah.
of the last few people. Should I give this away? To end up having a
Spoiler
fight
alert
with
for 50 years ago.
yeah, yeah. So the guy was a driller killer, and he ran through town with a power drill, so you didn't have to plug it in, and he's just slashing people. So I do make it clear to the end where I have a fight with him. And if you ever see it, you must take a look at with the film when I'm fighting. I grab a fireplace poker, and
Uh-huh.
he's getting the drill. We're jousting back and forth, and then he goes down. I hit him on his back, and they don't cut before you see the tip of the poker wobble, and you realize it's a rubber poker. And so, yeah, it's on the blooper reel that you can see now. But
Now, a lot of times, because I've done those movies as well, and I was in Ghoulies, and
yeah.
at the time, that was a big part of a young actor's career. They had a lot of these movies. I just interviewed, Tracy Savage. Tracy did, Friday the 13th, and so for the women, it was always, do I have to do nudity, and how do I get killed?
Yeah.
So when you were reading this, coming from your church group, did you have to do nudity? I don't think you did, right?
I didn't. They left that to the
Right.
girls in the shower scene after a basketball practice, and it's very gratuitous nudity.
It's a classic slasher film, and that
Yeah.
they're just hanging out without their tops, just for
Yeah.
scenes on end.
Yeah.
But back then, it was all about boobs and how the kills happened. So it was of the time, which is like these movies aren't being made anymore. But when you're reading this, is any of those filters hitting you like going, okay, well, I'm not naked and I have a good kill and I'm through the whole movie? Is that how you kind of justify doing it? Not that it's bad. I'm just saying, like, I would imagine.
No, you're right. I mean, I think that did play into it. Had I had to do nudity, I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you in a minute about a film called The East that I did.
Okay.
And but at this time in my life, I was very straight-laced, living in a box, very moral, churchy, and all that. And so that was a huge deal. I didn't even want to be seen pouring coffee or or drinking alcohol, anything.
Pouring coffee, like, why, the
smoking.
caffeine?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense code of ethics.
What church were you part of? It sounds like Mormons, right? Is that
At the
was
time.
that okay?
You
Okay.
nailed it.
No
Yeah.
judgment. Just like, wow, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
So you do Slumber Party Massacre. You know what you're getting into. It, like I said, they thought it was going to be a parody. Do you know anything about that, or is that
Not
before
at
your-
no, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Not at the time. I just thought it was a typical exploitive horror picture, which surprised me because it was written by Rita Mae Brown. And
Right.
I didn't think she would go that way. It was directed by Amy Holden Jones. But I found out later, and this has only been recently in my life, the last maybe 4 or 5 years, that it is not just a cult classic. It is an honor and to women in film. Amy, I
Yeah.
think, turned down something with Steven Spielberg because Roger Corman invited her to direct this, and there weren't that many female directors. So here she had a chance to go into that position, and she took it. And it was a lot of females who were working that job in the cast. And
Was this a Corman movie?
Yes, it was. It was a.
Okay.
But I
Yeah, but
read.
it's amazing. You do these movies, and I was talking to Tracy about this, and you'll do a scene, and it'll take an hour, and then you'll forget about it, and then that's the scene that becomes famous or whatever, and then all of a sudden that's what you're known for, and that was on Thursday last week, and you're like, what happened? When did I do that?
We'll be back at the Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
After these messages, have you ever thought about becoming an actor and making your friends and family jealous? Well, have I got a deal for you. Here at Working Actors School, we offer many different classes so you can become a famous actor like me. And we have a delightful selection of classes, including Adult Weekly. It's every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Here you will learn how to be an actor with other adults. How do we do it? How is it possible? Is it a miracle? Yes, it is. A miracle called Zoom. We teach everything online so you can become a famous actor and impress your friends and family. So if you want to be a famous actor and make your friends and family jealous, then you need to sign up at Working Actors School. You can get a hold of us at workingactorschool.com. You can sign up for classes at workingactorschool.com. You can make a reservation for the class online at workingactorschool.com. So come check us out. It's workingactorschool.com. Act 2. Success. So you did Slumber Party Massacre, and then you're like, well, you know what I should follow this up with? Little House on the Prairie. How did that happen?
Well, of course, that was my dream come true. I had come to LA with the idea, and I'd written it down. I'm either going to be on The Waltons, 8 is Enough, remember? Anything Disney did, or Little House on the Prairie. Those were the 4 goals I had.
Those absolutely line up with the Pam that you've just described from Oregon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So so we're going to talk about Little House, but I have to tell you, and this is a huge confession on my part, and I hope I don't offend you, and I hope I don't offend the viewers or listeners. I've never seen you on Little House on the Prairie. When I got written off the show, I stopped watching. And so I've never seen an episode after that. I never saw the movies. I never saw what you did. But I can tell you that you were amazing in it. You did excellent work because I know you. But yeah, I mean, I gotta say that first because otherwise I'll be going, it'll be like I'm trying to hide something that's kind of obvious.
It's okay.
But
and
having
you're not
said
alone.
that.
You're not alone.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people never watched it before their auditions. And
Right.
Karen Grassley, when she went off the show, that was it. She never looked back. She never
Right.
saw any of them either.
Well, so that's my private shame. But having said that, so you go from, you're going to the drama log. They're not got drama log auditions for Little House. So how'd you get the Little House audition?
I had gone to the Glendale Center Theater and auditioned and got into a play. And I did a lot of plays there for a long time. But it was that play that Dale Garrick, a popular agent at the time, independent
Yeah,
agent.
the Garrick Agency. Dale Garrick comes and sees you and says, hey, this kid's got something.
He did. He picked me up right there, and then he repped me for quite a long time.
Okay, so you find out that you're going in for this audition and you're going to be replacing the Ingalls family on Little House on the Prairie. What was that like? Did you think that was weird, or were you thinking that was really cool? I don't know.
For about the entire span of going in, doing the season, and then probably 30 years, I only thought, this is my dream come true. I get to do this. This is great. It didn't occur to me that there would be a super challenge that would be hard to get over. It was
Right.
kind of like easy acting. It was things that I had access to that I could portray, feel comfortable with. It was my first big thing. And even that didn't frighten me because, again, it was just my dream coming true. So that drive was so high that it shut out any sort of questions or negativity. And it wasn't really until we started doing these autograph signing sessions, in the 2022 or 3. And people would come up to me and say, I didn't like you. I didn't want you replacing Ma. I didn't want you living in that little house. And they were angry and they walked away. And I went, oh. And then I would hear it in different ways. I still hear it. But people say, but then we got used to you. And then we accepted. And so they turned it around, but I get that. I never wanted my favorite people to be replaced ever. So I understood it, but
Well,
not
and
the
also
movie.
the process for you, so that everyone understands, if they don't, is it's not like you tricked anybody, got in there and then stole the role. It's like they were leaving. Michael was leaving the show and they needed to come up with a new storyline. And so they created your characters. So I can see from your point of view that it wasn't like either or. It was
Yeah.
like, well, someone's going to play this role. So what was your audition like?
And thank you for clarifying that. You're absolutely right. And I had that comfort of knowing it's a different storyline and it's going to play
Yeah.
here. The audition was first one. By this time, I'm working at a chocolate factory. And they were a real thriving company, and a lot of actors worked there, and the boss loved actors. So it was the perfect job to have where you could come and go for your auditions.
Oh,
And
great.
you go, the rest of them all said, "Are you prepared to work here for 5 or 10 years before you get your break?" And I said, "You bet." And so suddenly, Slumber Party comes along. Suddenly, there's this audition for Little House. And I'm a bit overweight. I'm eating the chocolates a lot. My little mantra was,
Okay, so let's talk Hollywood numbers. How overweight is Pam?
okay,
Like
so
5 pounds?
like right now, these days, with my carriage and my bones, I carry anywhere from 140 to 149 pounds. And I get away with it. I was probably pushing 155. I was somewhere in the 150s. And
So you were happy and you were eating chocolate.
I was. And my frame is athletic and it's square.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not voluptuous, which is why I didn't last
Right.
on Days of Our Lives, which I would get after Little House. And I just didn't have that perfect figure. I was a little kind of straight up and down square-ish. So I get the audition through Dale Garrick and Susan Sookman McCrae over at Little House. And
Right.
I prepare the audition and I go in and she's very sweet and she says, you know, you're good and I want to have you come back in, but you're a little heavy to be on the prairie. You got to be a little thinner. And
Wow.
she said, if you can lose some weight, I'll have you come back and meet Michael. And I said, okay. And I should back up and tell you, I had auditioned for Days of Our Lives. The Days of Our Lives role that I would get after Little House, I auditioned before. And
Really?
they went with somebody else because, as the casting director said, he called my agent and he said, she's good. It's a shame she's so fat. And
Oh my
click.
God.
Yeah. And I didn't care. I didn't want to spend a minute changing myself to be a trophy wife for anyone. And I kind of tucked my head under the covers in a daytime moment and stayed there. And I
Yeah.
thought, I'm not changing. I hate this town. I hate these people. Why can't I just be me and look like me? Which now we hire people that look like themselves. And so cut to Little House. The stakes were higher. This was my dream. This was my plan.
Right.
So, okay, in this case, I will lose the weight for you. And I got a girdle sort of a thing that I cinched into. And then I had this prairie outfit with a belt that my roommates and I just tied me into. And I went in for the audition. Michael said it was what fell out of my face that, you know, that's what he noticed. And he was very impressed with that. So I think he actually did see me before the transformation. And he called my agent and he said, Dale, she's terrific. I just need her to lose a little weight. And that's when he just called me, Dale did, and he ripped me to pieces. And he said, if you want this, you can't be in your category and play around. You have to look like
You
they
know,
want you to
one
look.
of the qualities that you have is that you're a very sweet person and you talk very sweetly and you tell very sweet stories. And this is a terrifying story that you're telling so happily that it feels like it's just, oh, well, that's what Hollywood's about. It's like, it's terrifying. I mean,
Yeah.
trying to not justify it at all, but to put it within context. Michael Landon worked out all the time. Michael Landon was worried about his weight. Michael Landon was all about knowing what people looked like and what they were, you know, what they were about. Okay, so Michael sees you. You're auditioning with Michael. You've met the physical idea of what it is that they're looking for. How was that? I mean, I remember even when I was a kid, when you're in a close proximity with Michael Landon, you feel special. Michael made you feel okay. Everything was good, but it's still Michael Landon. And he's a great looking guy, and he's got charisma plus. What was that like when you walk in and there's Michael Landon?
I think there's absolutely no denying the fact that as a woman, you kind of are so drawn and taken and thinking, this is a crush guy that I would watch in the comfort of my home, and I would think, oh, what a beautiful man, what a sexy man, what a wonderful guy. So yeah, that was there. I think he had. So my first audition was Susan. Second audition was Susan and Michael, and I don't know if I don't remember if he sat underneath her desk, hiding behind her desk or not, which something he would do to put the actor at ease so they wouldn't be Michael Landon frozen. And they would just do the audition and then he would appear. I cannot remember because I've heard that story many times that other people experienced it. But
I remember we had a meeting, my family, because my brother was on the show. So my mom and dad and my brother and I went to meet with Michael. And he had it set up where there was a big window behind his desk. And so all the light was coming from behind him. And then he wore sunglasses.
Yeah.
And so you're looking into this bright window. You can't really see him that well. And he's, like you said, behind this desk. He's sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's like just, I guess, everything to like kind of minimize his own radiance. I don't know.
That's interesting. And what a great idea to do it that way.
Yeah.
So
you auditioned and you did you feel good about the read? I mean, obviously we know what happened, but
I did feel really good about it because he would tell you, that's great. That's wonderful. And then he'd say, I'm going to have you come back again. That was audition number 3. And he'd seen the weight loss, had me come back to meet Stan and to pair up with Stan. And so then I knew he was really...
Stan Ivar, the guy who played John Carter.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
But I also knew there were 2 women that he was looking at. And I met her in the bathroom and I thought, she's going to get this job. She's petite, dainty. She's going to get this job. I think I was maybe a better fit for Stan because of my height, the way our faces rounded out together, my stature as a farm woman. I think I could pull it off, even though Sarah Carter starts in New York and has moved to the Prairie to get married and be with this wonderful man and raise these kids. But she's been on the farm for a little while, in the country for a while. And she's a sturdy piece. So I think they saw that in me. And both Susan and Michael made me feel so good about being there every time. And then they brought in, I think after meeting Stan, that was the audition. They decided it would be me. And they brought in the 2 boys to play Jeb and Jason. And they lined us up as a family. And that was about audition 5 I think. And then the next audition was to go to the network, which is a horrible experience. And Michael, brutal, right? And Michael called before Stan and I went, called each of us and said, it's going to be a little icy in there. And don't worry, I've got you. I'm the executive producer of the show. I want you. You've got these roles. Just go do the audition. So Stan and I met at the park across from NBC Studios in Burbank. And we had a chance to...
I believe it's Johnny Carson Park.
Yes, Johnny Carson Park, yes. We hugged each other, held hands. We did like married sort of familiarity and then ran the scene. And he kept saying, we're going to be great. We're going to do this. Michael reassured us we have it. Let's just go do it. And then you walk in. It's a semicircle of, I thought there were maybe 4 or 5 guys and 1 woman. And I thought, I'll just look at the woman and maybe I can get some softness there. She was ice cold, worse than the men. And it's kind of like, show us what you can do. And not much feedback, not much to go on to start with. You don't know how friendly to be or not to be. But you can tell it's business and you better get to it and get out and say thank you and be polite. They didn't like either one of us because we had minimal experience. Minimal, especially me. Stan had maybe done a few things more. I didn't have a SAG card. I was Taft-Hartley'd in by Michael after I finished the first episode. Then I paid my money to get into SAG before I could do the second episode. That's how I got in. And he took a chance on
Wow.
me, huge chance.
So you join Little House. This is at a really weird time in Little House. Melissa's grown up. They're trying to recreate kind of like the sense of with kids, and they get younger kids. And this is when Jason Bateman and Missy Francis and David Friedman and all these kids were kind of like, being added to the cast along with you and Stan. What was it like when you started working on Little House? Was it like what you had imagined?
Totally. And the first day on the set, we were out at the time it was called Tapo Canyon Ranch, and now it's called Big Sky Ranch in Simi Valley. And we were inside the house, and there was an outside shot looking in, and I was just standing looking up at the loft thinking to myself, I'm the only woman on this entire planet who gets to stand here in these shoes and look up at this loft and be in this series as a series regular. And, he didn't hire me for a one-time guest thing. He hired me as a series regular, didn't hire me to live up the street. He hired me to live in the coveted little house. It hired us to be best friends with Almanzo and Laura, hired the boys and made the boys, especially Lindsay, who was playing Jeb, to be good friends with Shannon Doherty, who was now in Almanzo's and Laura's life as their niece.
Right.
And so the connection that Michael set up, he was setting up a situation where the audience would have to be exposed to us and have to accept us in a situation of friendship and love with these people in the town.
So you're working with all these people. You're really enjoying the process. You end up doing a year of the show, 2 years? How long?
Yeah,
I guess more years because of the movies and everything, right?
Yeah, right. It extended. I think I added up. It was maybe like a year and a half-ish of time. It seemed to have gone by for the whole thing, that including the 3 movies. And, when we came on the show, Michael insisted that everyone, the cast, the crew, be professional and work to get along and keep their grievances at home or take them away. And so we were brought in and accepted immediately. And because it was his daughter, Leslie Landon, who played the new school teacher. And again, pushing Laura out into her new business of, I want to call it the boarding house that she ran. And so they had to accept a new teacher. And then they had to accept these 2 little boys, which was great to have boy energy in the little house instead of replicating girl energy. Right. So another thing that he did that was so clever. And then to bring in, Jenny or Shannon Doherty. So the 6 of us came in at once. The whole group of existing cast in season 9 and crew accepted us. They brought us into the fold. Melissa and I were shopping together, and she and Leslie and I would do things together. Melissa and I rounded up the boys, and some of the kids who I thought were too little to do this, and we took them to the screening of Slumber Party Massacre in Westwood. Yes, we did. And it was in hindsight. I thought,
girls.
We don't know what we're gonna do to their parents, but their parents said, they see this all the time.
Best movie ever for a 12-year-old boy.
Oh, right? So we took them. I snuck in and saw it the day before because I just didn't want to watch something in front of Melissa, even that I hadn't even seen yet, and let alone in front of the kids. And I thought. And I told her, I said, I think we should cancel. She said, no, their parents are fine with it. And let's just go. Let's have fun. And it was fun. And the whole time I'm looking away from the kids thinking, boy, I hope they don't hate me for this.
I obviously on when you're listing your credits, they're right next to each other. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, you're on Little House at the same time that movie's coming out. That's a big combination.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that's a big trivia question, which I don't know how many people know this, is that Stan Ivar, who played your husband, he ended up with the Little House, right?
He did. There were 2 sets of it. One was the inside studio set, and one was the outside set at Tapo Canyon. And Michael gave him that with the restriction that he would not use it for anything for monetary gain. And I think he got a couple of things besides that. And none of them has he shared or set up for gain. Now, I think the Little House is not in any sort of condition that can be put back up and make you believe it's the same, because it's gone very dark and it's rotting. It's been outside or
Well,
in a barn.
it was just wood. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
like it was I mean,
Yeah.
that was the whole thing. It always amazed me that I think the story I heard was that Stan asked Michael, and it was like, perfect question to ask. Like, what are you going to do with the little
Yeah.
house? I mean, and sure enough,
I think you're right about that too. And
Yeah.
I think he was going, I think the interior set was going to the Smithsonian. And I think there was a problem en route that had to do with, I want to say, a truck fire or an accident or something. Anyway, it never made it to the Smithsonian, as far as Stan knows. So he called the Smithsonian and said, would you like the second set, the outdoor set? He offered it. And just to keep it in a museum. They never got back to him. He left messages. They never got back. And he finally just thought, well, maybe it's meant that I keep it. So, yeah.
what a strange story. I mean, here you got this iconic set.
Yeah.
Not only just the set itself, but like, have you ever seen a building that looks like that? I mean, just the outline of it
Yeah.
was on every one of our scripts. The outline is so unique, designed by the same guy that designed the Starship Enterprise, Matt
Isn't that
Jeffries.
wild?
Right? And it's like this classic thing and just sort of lost to time. So when you're doing this show, obviously Shannon Doherty, Jason Bateman, David Friedman, all these people that join the show, no one knows what they're going to be. They're just sort of there. You're just other actors that you're working with. What was your overall, because again, was Michael at this time, he would come back, I think, for a movie. I know he came back with the movie that my brother did where Albert was on drugs.
Yeah.
Was Michael directing any of these, or was it just Bill Claxton and Murray and
No,
those guys?
it was mostly Maury Dexter, and I think, I can't remember, Bill might have done one that I was in. And then there was, Michael did a couple, and then Victor French did a few. So
That's right.
Yeah, between all of them, Michael, I can't remember who directed the first Times Are Changing, which was a 2-part episode that brought Stan and I in and established that the little house was changing hands. And that was my opportunity to work with Michael. And then he went away for 4 months to Thailand to do a film. And then when he came back, he directed something that I was in. And then I think he directed others, but I want to say he directed one of the movies. I can't remember. I should look all of that up.
We'll be back at
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, well, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
after these messages. Hey there, I'm Patrick Laberteau, and I've been an actor since I was a little kid, so I know what it's like to be a little kid actor. So I have a class here called Youth Weekly, and that meets every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and it is an awesome class if you are young and want to learn all about acting. We have a great set of kids, and it's taught on Zoom, so you can do it from anywhere. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your laptop, on an iPad. It's awesome. I've had kids take a class while they were in the car coming back from soccer practice. I swear to you. So if acting is in your blood, come to workingactorschool.com and check out the Youth Weekly class every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. I'll see you there. Act 3, present day. So you do Little House. Then you end up going back, and I say back because you brought it up, but for Days of Our Lives, for like over 75 episodes. What was your experience like in the soap world?
That was a whole different thing. So I was playing Sandy Horton. I was the fourth Sandy Horton. The second one or third one got it right before Little House when I went to Little House. The third one, and then whatever happened to her, they needed to replace that role again. So I went back in for another audition, and I have to jump back to Dale Garrick, the agency. Dale was very old-fashioned, and he had a lot of his mother's. His mother had passed. He had her jewelry. He had her wigs. He had her mink stole. He had really old-fashioned stuff that she had. So I go into his agency. He had plastic over the couch, the vinyl couch, and plastic runners on the floor, that kind of a guy. And he said,
Gotta
okay.
protect it for when you have guests.
I guess so.
But the plastic never ever comes off.
Yep. I don't think it ever did. So he said, you're moving off the prairie into the sexy, hot, steamy world of soap operas. He probably knew right off the bat there was no way I could pull it off, which is why I didn't last my 3-year contract. I only made it through 1 year because I wasn't voluptuous. I didn't move that way. I wasn't sexy. And he sent me down in that office, and he had some wigs. And he said, try this wig, try that wig. And he dressed me, he gave me stuff, and I go in for the audition. And I look ridiculous, and I know that I do. And there was a director there. A female director, she liked me. And she said, I want you to lose all that stuff. Oh, and Dale had fake eyelashes, really dolled up makeup and everything, which I would end up having to do on Days of Our Lives. But for the audition, she wanted me more natural to play the role of this doctor. So we did it again without all of the frills. And then she really pitched for me. I ended up getting the role. And I think with the Little House credits, I was a little more, it was an NBC show, and I was a little more well accepted. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't have to do another audition with the studio people. I just had to go to a doctor and have a physical. And when I passed the physical, then they put me in to start shooting. And they paired me up with sexy Chris Kozacek. That didn't work out. They paired me up with sexy Tony DeMira. That didn't work out. And then the friends I had made on the show by that time, and this was 1 year, they said, they're talking about Sandy Horton going to a convention in Africa. And that is a little signal to you that you should prepare to get your pink slip, because it's going to tell you, thank you very much. We are discontinuing the contract. And you're done. Wow. So the 3-year contract ended after the first. And I wasn't in there any more than my guaranteed days. I was guaranteed.
But still, I mean, it says 77 episodes, which is a lot. I mean, did you experience a ton of dialogue, or was it just like you were in different scenes, but you were never overwhelmed by it?
There were times they had me paired up with Deidre Hall, because when I was coming in, here she was, the leading lady of the show. I was in for a while, and she was going to go off and do something else, which she did. They didn't want me to take her place by any means, but they wanted me to be a similar look and a similar strong 80s.
Keep the audience busy while she's off doing her thing.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So she ended up coming back. And then there were 2 of us. And I kind of noticed that pretty soon we weren't working the same scenes. Oh, well, we were working the same scenes, but we had to be very opposite. She'd be in a bright blue dress. I'd be in a bright red one. Then they'd put her hair up and leave my hair down, or flip it. And so then pretty soon I noticed we weren't even in the same scenes anymore. So as best friends and stuff, we were different. And then pretty soon we weren't working the same episodes at all. And then pretty soon there was talk of a pink slip coming. And I thought, I didn't work out with anyone. I didn't work out with the guys. This friendship was not meant to last with Marlena.
Well, it's a very specific, but you do Days of Our Lives, and then listen to this run. You're in these famous TV shows all through the 80s. Hotel, Remington Steele, Falcon Crest, MacGyver, Knots Landing, Designing Women, Murder, She Wrote. It's like you got jobs everywhere. As a working actor, I think that that's a credit to the fact that, like myself, I got on a show, JAG, and then I did that for 10 years. God bless. It was like a miracle. But that's one audition. These are, you're auditioning and trying, and then you have a run at the WB with Seventh Heaven, Felicity, Jack and Bobby. It's like, you played Ed Begley Jr.'s wife in that. Like Greg Berlanti had a love for you, I would imagine. And then you do Ghost Whisperer, Grey's Anatomy, and all of this is like, what I wanted to talk to you about this and why I listed off all of these is when you're a hired gun, when you're a guest actor on these shows, even leading up to the very last credit that's right now at your thing, which is High Potential, you go in and you're not a regular. You may not know anybody there. Depends on how the set is running. Sometimes there's toxic sets where it's like no one talks to anybody. They don't talk to you. They don't talk to each other, and it's horrible. Or they're a big family and everyone greets you and it's wonderful. Just going through this, and I'm not going to ask about each and every one of them, but what are your thoughts on being a guest actor where you're in so many different sets? What was that experience like overall?
You really tapped into a lot of realities for what it is. And I had already done days, and that is that kind of an environment where you never know because it's beautiful people, really beautiful people. And there was only one time when one guy really had a fit and blew up right after we were in the middle of a scene. And it was he and I and one other person, and he just had a fit. And he blamed it on a crew member who had moved in his eye line. And he said, how they could do
it's
that.
It's the classic one, right?
Don't own it yourself. Blame it on somebody moving.
What was his name again?
I'm so tempted to tell you all these names. But yeah, so it was an okay set, but it's just an environment where it could go south any minute. So I felt comfortable going in to the guest star things. Some of those were co-star roles that you mentioned, so it might have been a line here or a line there, but many of them were quite meaty. And so yes, in the time I started guest starring, it was a time where the writing was focusing on guest stars a lot. But yes, so I go on to, like, say, Grey's Anatomy. It was season 3. So in season 3, and I forgot what I was
Still the
saying.
original cast. I mean, that's
original
all.
Cast,
it's like prime Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, and I was going to focus too on the whole thing with back in the day. It really was the guest star was the story, and there were usually 2 storylines going, and the ensemble was around you, and that has shifted now to where it's the ensemble and the guest comes in and sometimes has very little to do. And it's still all about the ensemble and the people we grow to love as ensembles. So Grey's Anatomy was in season 3, and it was, it was the story. It was the person in the bed, the person that they were serving, and the family who came to see the loved ones in the hospital room. That was the story focus. And there were always 2 stories going on, A and a B. But the ensemble cast was gathering for these things. And it was a very tough time for 2 leading actors in the show who were having a public battle about an issue, I think it regarded homosexuality. And it was a big public battle. And it was ugly. And there was a young woman who was a hot star on the show. And I was not working with those 3 people. I was working with another prime actress on that show. And then somebody was playing my girlfriend. And we go in to find out where my mother is. And we're going to get her off. And there was a DNR. And they put her on a respirator. We need to get her off of it and just let her go. And so we're talking with this other person, and the shot is that Teddy is the name of the girlfriend. Teddy and I walk in, we go up to the counter and we ask about mother, and that actress says, yes, I'll show you. And we go around the corner. It's on Steadicam, so the camera pulls back and I'm sorry, it started with the three people down the hallway, not with us. So the three people who in real life, the two guys are having this huge fight. So there's some tension, there's some anger, and wonderful David Paymer is directing this episode. David Paymer is one of
He's a great actor. I didn't know he directed.
Such a good actor. And all of us know him. If you think you don't know him, you've seen him over the years so many times as an actor, and he's a fabulous director. Unfortunately, this young cast was giving him a terrible time. Now, 3 years into a brand new show, your popularity is off the charts. You're in every magazine, you're the hottest things around, and you're young. And I think every one of us, our heads inflate, and we are kind of reading our press and thinking along of ourselves. I think people are guilty of that. So in comes back to this first shot, and that's the setup with my relationship with David Paymer. To this first shot, the Steadicam is coming backward down the hallway, and three people are in this shot. This very important leading lady, young woman, and these two guys who are having a personal fight. And you hear David say, action, and all of a sudden, this fighting just goes on, and he says, cut. They start like 2 or 3 times. So he makes them really settle down for the next time. And
this is like a legendary problem that was written about a ton at that time.
Yeah.
I'll be pulling clips to show episodes of who we're talking about. I'm not going to have you say it just because you're being very cool about it. But, but we all know who it is. And it was like, and you were there when it was happening?
Yeah. And I
crazy.
want to say that was so many years ago. And all of these people, men and women, have grown in life. So anyway, yes, the shot is about to start, and there's this dead silence. And I can only imagine what was happening down that hall. And I hear an actress scream, "Can we just shoot that effing scene?" And says it all. And the room gets quiet. Remember, we're in a big space because we're clear out where the
hospital sets are like huge. Yeah.
Down that hallway. And it is dead quiet everywhere. And suddenly, showrunners are coming. Suddenly, people are coming from everywhere, and they're walking down the hallway, and it's just not a good thing. But clearly, it was an intense feeling that the people who were running the show were the famous actors. Now, to their credit, when we were introduced to them, Teddy and I, they were so nice to us. Every one of them welcomed us.
They didn't have a problem with you, but I mean, what that effectively does to the guest cast is, and then it's like, okay, now they're finally calmed down, and it's like, okay, Pam, go ahead, break down, kill your mom, take her DNR, and kill her, and here's your big emotional moment, and you've just witnessed this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's really, really true. So, yes, the scene finally gets shot. I hear rumors that he is the worst director ever, and that was said by a couple of people, and so I can't just blame one. He's not going to work after this show ever. He will never work again. I mean, there were these young voices with these horrible statements, and they were passing it out when we went outside of the studio. We're standing in the courtyard area. They're talking to drivers of golf carts. They're saying, "Oh my gosh, we're so far behind schedule," and he's just making the magic happen, and he's working hard to get it. At the end of the day, he was nominated, I think, for best directing on for that particular episode. I think.
Well, I mean, the guy's such a talent. I mean, if I haven't already, I'll put up another picture of him. You know who he is if you don't know the name. Speaking of directing and everything that has been going on here, I wanted to touch base before we get to the questions. You worked on The Social Network, and you worked on a movie, Her. Now, David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin were behind The Social Network, and Spike Jonze was behind Her. I don't know how much interaction you had, but what's it like when you're on a set with, I mean, David Fincher is known for being so exacting, and Spike Jonze is known for being super creative. What was it like working with those two guys?
It'd stop me if I, go on too long. But with David Fincher, I didn't know that much about him. I knew that he did like to do a lot of takes, and he would be very quiet. But I didn't know a whole lot before I got on the set. And then I was hearing people say, yeah, he's been known to just walk into an office down the hall from his and sit down while somebody's busy at the computer and not say a word to them, but just sit there and think and then get up and walk away. He's known for 27 takes of one simple thing. So, I'm hearing this, but my experience is I'm lucky. I'm early on with with what's his name? Is it Jesse Eisenberg?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg played
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg
Right.
in the movie.
So they come to my trailer to get me, and then we go to Jesse's trailer and get him. And so the second AD and myself and Jesse are walking together to the location. He's very polite and nice, but he's working his lines and stuff. And we go onto the set, and we're opposite ends of each other in a like a long rectangular grouping of tables. I'm sitting right next to an extra, and there's extras all the way down except for the guy who played the president. He's in charge of the computer systems at Harvard, and
Okay.
You would know him, and so do I. It's from My Three Sons. He and his brother, My Three Sons.
Stanley Livingston.
Yes, thank you. I'm showing my age. So he's there, and he was so sweet, wonderful. And then Jesse is opposite me at the other end. And I think, based on how my audition went, and if I can back that up, it was no information. We did not know who the three main stars of the film were. We did not know anything about the film. We were not allowed to have the sides until we were in the office, the casting office. We go in the casting office. There are all kinds of people, men, women, all ages, all ethnicities. And the casting assistant is passing out on the papers, the sides, on this table in the middle. And a couple of guys say, "Can we look at those?" And she says, "Not yet." And he says, "We need time." And she says, "They're not ready yet." And so she's laying them all out. Nobody's getting them. We're for all different roles. And he gets a little nasty one more time. He's got a friend with him, or they know each other. And they're kind of going, "Yeah, this is one of those auditions. It's going to be hard to pull it off." And yada. And the casting director is down the hallway getting the camera set up. And so pretty soon we are handed the sides, and we all start to look at them. Everyone stays in the room. And these two guys, they start to ask the casting director questions like, "Where does this take place?" And she says, "I don't know." And he says, "Oh," and it said it very clearly that it's Harvard. And then they start baiting her with other questions. And finally, because she won't answer a thing. And finally, he says, "Oh, that's right. You don't know anything. You're just the casting director." And I don't think anyone in the room could believe that someone was that idiotic to just cut his audition and certainly his career with that group of people who work with David Fincher all the time. I doubt that tape, if he even got to be put on tape, I doubt it was either not recorded or it was certainly not printed. So anyway, when I did the audition, there was a point in there where I am talking to him and saying what the accusations are. And then I look, and then I ask him, I'm kind of half reading them. And then, so I acted like I was reading them. And then I have to say, what do you want to say about that? And so I was able to switch my demeanor from purposely acted like I was reading, and then purposely went to something more congenial and saying, what's your opinion? And I thought perhaps that's why I booked the audition, because I didn't go back. They booked from the tape, and I didn't go back in. And then I'm on the set, and I do the very same thing, and I get no notes. And then I think maybe at one point he walks up to me and he says something. I don't even remember what it was. It was very simple, and I took his adjustment. During one of the breaks, I don't know if it was Stanley or who came, it was a lighting grip who came up to me, and he said, "They got you on the second take." And he said, "Just relax." And it didn't move in on my close-up. It didn't move in to multiple takes. We
Wow.
got it. It was done. Then we turned around, or I don't know. Maybe we already done Jesse first. I'm not sure. And maybe it was Barry or Stanley.
Barry, probably. I mean,
I think it was
again,
Barry.
I think it's. Yeah, I think you're right. I think
Whoever
it was
works a lot. I think it was Barry.
Right.
They did his close-ups, and he said the same thing. He said, "This is you got it. It's perfect." And so all my incoming fears, and then hearing little gossips,
Yeah.
they were completely subsided, and I went, "Okay, good." And then he used it in the trailer, which. It was a
That's
busy
amazing.
trailer. It's my
Yeah.
voiceover at a certain point that takes over near the end. And then you cut to our scene as the very last thing. The music stops. It's dead quiet. We're doing this little exchange. And that little thing, that ran and ran and ran. It's to the music of Creep.
Oh, it's better to be in the trailer than the movie because
my
more people
gosh,
see
it
the
got me
trailer.
so much attention. And that song, by Creep, the Creep song, such
Yeah,
a great song. So anyway, I would go into casting offices after that, and for a while, every one of them said, "What was it like to work with David Fincher?" Every one
Yeah.
of them, and it was really nice to have that little connection in there.
That's really, really cool. I just got a question. High Potential. I love that show. Was it fun to do?
So much fun, and season one,
Yeah.
and it was shot, I think, as episode. Early on, I want to say we shot it
The
as
11th episode.
right. That's how it aired.
It aired as 11th, but I don't
Yeah.
know when you guys shot it.
Yeah, we shot it. Well, I want to say 2 or maybe 3. So they were new. They're a new company, but they were already like a well-oiled machine. They were fun.
Yeah.
They were light and breezy. They welcomed us in. There was a family of 6. It was a little switch. Must have been episode 3, because
Okay.
it was a switch from what they had been doing, which was solving current murders. This was a cold case. So
Right.
it came out a little bit like Agatha Christie or something more nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah. Something
a
a little.
chamber mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I think they saved it. I could be wrong about this, but it wasn't the season finale, it was 12, I think, but it was right up near the end. And then I was even called in to do some ADR work on fixing the voice and stuff. Very,
cool.
very late, like 2 weeks before it aired, I think. And I said, "Why has this waited so long to air?" And they said, "Well, because it's a different sort of thing, and than we've done in the past, and it's as they go, they find more ways to tweak it or more ways to add to it or whatever.
Refine it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had been waiting since they told me like end of January is, and I think it aired in January, but I've been waiting in December and telling my family any day. But it was fun. The cast was enjoyable to work with. The place we were at, it was an old mansion in Beverly Hills, and it was lived in by this older couple, or certainly this grandmother person, and her son was living upstairs, the servants' quarters above the garage. And every once in a while, he'd be
Sunset
jogging.
Boulevard much?
It was, I'm telling you, it's supposedly haunted.
Do they have a monkey funeral?
I think so, yeah. Well, listen to that. It's really creepy. There was a murder there, a suicide, sorry, a double suicide by a couple who owned the home, lived there, sent their kids off to some sort of camp. This was, years ago. I should look it up. I want to say 30s or 40s. And then they left a note on the door saying, "Please do not disturb us. We're absolutely fine. We're just having time alone while the kids are gone." And then they come to find out they had taken their lives inside there. So
God.
here we are in an upstairs, in the house, in the mansion, in an upstairs place that looked like it had been a game room, and there was a bar there. And little by little, of these 6 people, I would notice no one was going back up in there. And so the guy who plays my husband, who ends up dying in the opening scene, was getting set up in the hospital bed in the bedroom upstairs when he's in this room and gives him the creeps. So he comes downstairs at some point before we start filming, and he said, "That room is just a creepy feeling up there." I've often wondered if that's where those people took their lives. And it just was because that man, he knew nothing about what we were
Right.
all talking about. And you can look it up. I need to look it up. That's what
I'm just calling it now that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I'm
It
thinking.
has to be.
because
right?
why would he have that feeling? So, and it looks
Wow.
great. It's a really good looking thing.
Well, it's a really fun show. She's really good in it,
she's
and
great.
it's a good adaptation. It's obviously the adaptation of the English show, but it's I think so
Yes.
much more creative.
Yeah. And
Okay, so
everybody
here we
loves
are.
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say everybody loves it, and we love shooting it, and I love to watch. I can't wait for the next episode to drop. And it's just, they are delightful. They were delightful on set, and it was just a real fun time.
We'll be.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Back after these messages. Hey, I'm Patrick Labertone. I play an actor on TV, and I've been doing this for a long, long time. And I know what it's like if you are in a class with people, and sometimes you just want to have that one-on-one connection with the person that you're working with to go over, I don't know, a particular scene, or maybe you have an audition, or maybe you just want the privacy to try stuff that you don't really know is going to work and not have anyone look at you. Well, I have the perfect solution for you. It's called One-on-One with Patrick Labertone. You can book your time at workingactorschool.com, and it's just me and you for an hour going over whatever it is you want to work on, breaking down the script, talking about character, figuring out your intention, the spine of the scene, everything that goes in to making a dynamite performance. So if you're interested in acting and want that one-on-one personal attention, check out One-on-One with Patrick Labertone. You can find all the information you need at workingactorschool.com. Act 4, questions. Okay, so here we are. We're in Act 4. Here we got the questions. It's called Tina's Gotta Know, because these are questions my wife Tina came up with. And the first question is called That's Showbiz. What is the most Hollywood moment in your life?
There are a couple. One had to do with, facing paparazzi and having so many flashes of bulbs and just blinding you and not being where I wanted to be at an opening of something with a friend of mine. And it was his opening and just feeling creepy. We had to walk into the Man Chinese Theater, and I saw an old paparazzi guy that I did recognize. And because I'm pretty nice, I went over and hugged him, and I discovered that's not anything you ever do. You don't go hug a paparazzi. So I felt really stupid, but
It wasn't Roger Cornball, was it?
It was.
Was it?
It
I
was
know Roger.
Cornball.
Yeah, Roger's a great guy. Roger,
Yes.
I tell this story, and I told it on the TikToks. Roger was us. I don't know if he's still alive, but at the time he was always one of the people that was there taking pictures, and a really sweet guy. And he invited my family to dinner in Simi Valley at his mom's house. And my dad said, okay. And so my brother and I are like just raking my dad over the coals going, why are we going to a paparazzi guy's house in Simi Valley? And he goes, well, he says that other celebrities are going to be there. And I go, who's going to be there? And he goes, well, John Forsythe and Linda Evans from Dynasty. And I'm like, come on, John Forsythe and Linda Evans are going to be at Roger's house for dinner? And he goes, that's what he told me. And my brother and I were just like merciless. We were like, Dad, you don't understand Hollywood. That's not happening. So we get out to Simi Valley, and it's like, it's like a standard little 1,300 square foot house with like a big table and then extra chairs and an extra table for people to eat. And we're there, and we're looking around, and we're looking at my dad like, way to go, Dad. And then the door knocks, and it's John Forsythe and Linda Evans.
No way.
And so I don't know how this guy did this, but it sounds exactly like, that's why I said, is it Roger? So yeah, so I would hug Roger. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, that's so great.
That's hysterical. So you went over and you hugged him, which you should never do, apparently.
I guess not. The other moment was it was the first and I think the only talk show I was invited on. And it was called Bill Tush, I think, the Bill Tush Show. And I go in there, and I just go in like like I would talk to you, just normal back and forth conversation. I'm ready just to talk and to hear what he had to say. And I guess I didn't answer the first question quick enough. And so then he steamrolls all over me for, I think it was 30 minutes long. And I barely said anything. And when I would start to answer, he would let me go so far, then he'd cut off. And then at the end, when I'm just flabbergasted and I'm thinking, that was a horrible experience. I will never, ever do a talk show again in my life, ever.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he came up to me after it was over and he said, I am sorry, but I have a show here that I have to sell and protect. And he said, if it's not moving, if it's not happening, as it, it's got to be gossipy. It's got to be hot and sexy and stupid and silly. And I've got to talk about all these cheesy things. And I just wasn't making it. And he said, sorry, but that's what we need here. And I just went,
It's not the Bill Tush way.
yeah, really. So yeah, that was an ugly moment.
So that's Showbiz Part 2. What's the most embarrassing moment of your life?
Okay, in Hollywood, I was doing a table read for Mad Men. And I had a nice little guest star role on Mad Men, a one-time thing. And that was a tight group. So I come in and what was it? I guess it was Roger Morse.
Yeah, Robert Morris.
Thank you, Robert Morse.
Right.
Boy, I'm butchering names today, if not forgetting. Right, it was Robert Morse.
All the time. Right.
I didn't watch Mad Men. I didn't watch it. And that's like a note to an actor. You got to get familiar with the show if you're going to audition for it. And I didn't. And so at this table read, we're sitting there and people are coming in and sitting down and getting lunch. And everybody's talking and chatting. And it's Robert Morse's birthday. And before I find this out, I see him and I go, oh my gosh, it's him. This guy, I've just loved his work and I think he's great. And so I said, oh, wow, I think he's a guest star like me. I said, who are you playing today? And he says, who am I playing today? Who am I playing today? Everyone, who am I playing today? It just blurts it everywhere. And that was the most embarrassing thing. And then I said, I'm so sorry. I got to confess, I haven't watched it. And then they wheel in at his birthday cake. Everybody starts singing. And I realize he's a fixture here at this show. So, yeah, won't ever do that one again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes casting directors will call you in to be in a table read when they don't have the actor available and just they get another actor to do the table read. And so they had done a TV show version of the movie Clueless, and casting director called me in to read for I think whatever part it was that Bronson Pinchot was playing in the series.
Oh.
And I was to read for the part. And it was at that, I don't know if you've ever been there, but at Paramount, they have this one room where they have this, literally, it had to be a custom-made table that was only built in the room. It's this huge table. 50 people can sit at this table. And it's for table reads and stuff. And so all the chairs are filled. And it comes to, the part that I'm supposed to read. And the line, my cue comes up, and I read the line. And I can hear someone down the table reading the same line. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm supposed to do this line. And I look down the line and Bronson Pinchot looks at me down and he goes, hey buddy, why don't you let me read my own line?
Ooh.
He was a real jerk about it. But I'd been literally hired to come and read his lines, but apparently he showed up and no one told me. And so I ended up looking like the idiot. But
I'm so sorry. Wow.
Right?
That's just yeah.
Okay, number 3, show me the money. What is your biggest missed financial opportunity? We get a lot of opportunities in this town. Sometimes they're like, oh, I wish I had taken advantage of this. Do you have anything like that?
I don't think I have something like that, but I got paid very well on High Potential. So I did a Matlock audition. The offer, I wasn't offered it. The amount they were willing to pay matched High Potential. And I was so excited, and I didn't book it. And I've been in for 2 auditions for them and haven't booked it. The one was just to be a judge, and it wasn't a very
Right.
big role, but this next role was the one I'd really been waiting for. I still hope there's an opportunity, but
Well, you know what they say, if they keep bringing you back and you don't get it, it's just as good, because that means they know you're a good actor and they want you to,
yeah.
maybe you'll be right for this part.
Yeah, I do hope. I don't think there's anything, certainly nothing I turned down. I've been the one turned down, but I haven't turned down anything that I've regretted. So, yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Number 4, show and tell. As a teenager, what was the poster in your room and how did you get it? What was your favorite one that you had up on the wall?
Oh, okay, this is silly. It was Santana, the group Santana.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I had any Teen
Were you a
Beat
big fan of their music? I mean, they're classic. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I was a fan of the music and a fan of the poster. I just thought it was a beautiful all in white poster. Everybody was dressed in white. It was really beautiful. I carried it with me to college even, and it was a big deal.
Nice.
But yeah, I didn't have other pictures up like that. Even of like female actresses who I wanted to emulate, it was none of that. Yeah.
Huh.
That's
Interesting.
right. I never
All right,
thought about
showdown. What's the best thing you ever did and the worst thing you ever did, as far as acting? Like, what do you think you're most proud of and not so proud of?
It's so funny because when I look back at myself, I don't like anything I do. And I always think, why didn't I do this? Why I could have done that better. Wish I'd have known that at this time. I can't think, because they all just seem no good to me. Or like I would do them differently.
Right.
I think there was a Bayer aspirin commercial where I have it on tape and it's on my reel. And it's so good until I have to show the pain in my knee. And I bend down and I grimace with one of these grimaces that people in their worst pain don't grimace that way. And they left it and probably highly encouraged it. So that's a huge embarrassment whenever I see that. And then the silly thing that I'm super proud of, I was so afraid of comedy and afraid of improv and stuff. And I did a web series that just didn't make it, but I did, I think, 5 shows on it. And I played this mother. It was called Previously on Point Doom. And the gag
Sounds
was,
great already. I like that.
yeah, it was so fun. Doom is
It was
D-U-M-E.
just, each episode was just the previously's on and you never got to the episode.
You never saw the episode so when they would say, yeah, previously on, you never saw it. And they would just show
great.
you excerpts of what you had missed, but nobody ever saw
But
it.
you never, it was like
built
always,
for that.
yeah.
So much fun. And there were 5 guys the writer, the director, the tech guys that were just so much fun to work with and had great ideas and great suggestions and kept loving what I did. It really encouraged me to feel good about the comedy part of it. Doom is spelled D-U-M-E, which I think some people
Right, it's
around
like
here,
the beach. It's Point Doom, yeah.
Yeah, Point
it's
Doom.
like right over, yeah.
You can find it on, there's this comedy thing. It's not called Knock Knock TikTok. It's a comedy station, a sketch comedy station. That's the only place I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I wish I could even tell you what the name of it is, but
I'll find it.
yeah, you'll find it. It's on one of those, or I'll see if I can figure out how to send you my reel with it. But it was a very cute premise for a web series.
Awesome.
I was so
It
sorry.
sounds really hysterical. It sounds really
Yeah,
funny.
it was really
Okay, so the final question here. Yeah, even though I didn't watch you on your shows, I'm going to ask you this question. Number 10, show me some love. What's your favorite performance of mine?
I'm going to get Tina for this. What are these questions she has? Okay, I loved you in Jag. And I didn't see the whole series, but every time I would see you, you would always make
There's only 225 episodes.
I
Come
know,
on.
I better catch
Pam.
up. Talk about binging. I just loved how adorable you were and that you were always funny. You were like the comic relief of this every time I saw
Thanks.
something. I didn't watch.
I always saw Bud as the comic relief of that show, which
Yeah.
again, Don, the guy who created Don Belisario,
Yeah.
allowed for. And so, yeah, exactly. I loved that I got to be able to be comedic in a very dramatic show.
Yeah.
Well, Pam, this has been really amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. I love hanging out with you, just so that, it's like our friendship really developed. We became travel buddies for all these different little adventures that we all go on for the Little House shows. And that's where you and I became really good friends. And so this was just fantastic having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I love who you are. And I love how you fill me with interesting bits of knowledge of things I don't understand, like quantum physics and politics. You just are there with answers for me. And I love it. And your comedy is precise, it's spot on, it's instantaneous, and it knocks me off my guard every single time. So there's everything.
Well, you've just been hired as my publicist. Thank you so much.
It's the Patrick Labber Show. Patrick Laberto. He's the one you gotta know.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the podcast and checking it out. It is an audio podcast wherever you get your audio podcast, and it's a video podcast over on YouTube. My socials are all patrick.laberto, and that is on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. I'm everywhere. If you want information on the school, you can go to workingactorsschool.com. We have classes going all the time. It's a lot of fun. I suggest you check it out. Hey, we'll see you next time.
It's the Patrick Labber Show. Patrick Laberto. He's the one you gotta know.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.
Hey, we're Stacy and Pete, and we host We Don't Want to Grow Up, a podcast all about those warm and fuzzy memories from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
We're revisiting the pop culture, toys, and memories that shaped a generation.
Gen X, millennials, and I'm over here representing the Zennials. So if you ever experienced waiting for your Delia's catalog to show up after school, or if you got lost wandering the aisles of Toys R Us, this show's for you. You can listen to us everywhere podcasts are available.